This is Straight Up Tekken, Episode 2, Frame Data. Frame data is incredibly important if you wish to understand any fighting game in a reasonable amount of time. Frames are how many fractions of a second it takes for a move to come out. Tekken games and almost all fighting games run at 60 frames per second, so one frame is 1/60th of a second. What this means for you is very simple. Let us start with the one jab. The generic one jab is 10 frames and plus 1 on block. When no one is at advantage or disadvantage, this is called neutral frames or 0. There are some moves in the game that are 0 on block, such as Fang down 4-1. At neutral frames, a move startup is unaffected by other factors. However, let us revisit the one jab. As we can see, the one jab is plus 1 on block. So if the opponent tries the one jab at the block and R1 jab will win out. This is because when you are plus, your move is functionally faster because your opponent is in what is known as hit or block stun, which simply means that they were affected by a move that either player had hit or had blocked. So then, if we run this situation again, we will see that them trying to press jab at the block and R jab puts us at plus 8. So let's look at what happens when we do a 15 frame move, in this case Shaheen's down 4-2, and the opponent tries to jab while we are plus 8. As you can see, our down 4-2 won, but why? It's very simple. When you are looking at plus and minus frames, for plus frames you subtract from the move startup, and for minus frames you add to it. This is from the perspective of the attacker or defender. So if you are plus 1 and you do a jab, your second jab is essentially 9 frames instead of 10, and from the side of the defender, their jab will be 11 frames instead of 10. So at plus 8, if you do a 15 frame move, the move is essentially 7 frames from the perspective of the opponent, because you can act 8 frames earlier than normal, as 15 minus 8 is 7. But from the opponent's perspective, doing a jab at minus 8 would be functionally 18 frames. We only do our calculations for one side. Whichever side of the calculation is faster than the original frames of the move after the calculation is the winner, with some exceptions that will be covered later. So to summarize, since 15 minus 8 is faster than 10 frames, or 10 plus 8 is slower than 15, the down 4-2 wins every time. Now that we understand frames, we can move on to the more important parts of the game. That's it for this one. Catch you later, or not.